Hey guys, I'm Scott, creator of Oil and Iron, coming to Kickstarter this September 30th. Oil and Iron is a diesel punk mecha skirmish war game where players control squadrons of war machines called rigs, fighting for the last drop of oil in a very resource-starved smog land. Every battle is cinematic and brutal, with engines overheating, armor being shattered, and tactics deciding who comes out on top. Oil and Iron is coming to Kickstarter on September 30th, and I'm here to show you the first prototype of the printed rulebook. Let's get started. Here we go. The first printed prototype of the rulebook. Came out really nice. Very excited when this arrived. Let's dive straight into it. Contents. Forward about the rules alpha that's been ongoing. And diving straight into some lore and artwork. About the smoglands. The timeline of how we got to where we are today. Testing some double page spreads of some render artwork. Came out really nice. Love this little blueprint that I made. One of the rigs. We'll be making more of these for lots of different rigs. Getting into the core rules. This is why we have prototyping. Move that number over so it's not in the crease. The setup of what the game board might look like. Rig control terminal, weapon cards, equipment, heat tracker for the engine of each rig. So each rig will have one of these control terminals and weapon cards and equipment card. Bit on weapons and equipment. Engine heat. So what I think makes Oil and Iron quite unique is the action system. So each rig has 5 actions on their activation, and for each action it has an associated heat cost, and you would move the heat tracker up the heat track, and then once you get into like hot territory, you start having engine problems, and there's a lot of negative consequences that can come with that. So it's very much a push your luck mechanic. How far are you willing to go to deal out damage or outmaneuver an enemy rig without getting consequences on your own? Playing the game, these are all the actions you can take, and the associated heat cost. Diagram on movement. Another mechanic that I really enjoy is the preparations mechanic. So as an action, and for 1 heat, you can make a preparation. So you can prepare for evasive maneuvers, return fire, or brace for incoming fire. You get one of these tokens, and you put it down next to your rig. And then when the enemy triggers that preparation action, turn it over, show the enemy what it was, and then you carry out that action. So prepare for return fire. If your rig gets fired upon, you can fire back. So rules on attacking and damage, catastrophic damage and rig destruction. Yes. I had to make, as I was writing these rules for rig destruction or revising them, I had to get a new render of a rig exploding. So here's the caustic rig getting exploded by a Nautilus. You have weapon perks. Different weapons have different effects. And here's an example turn going through all the core mechanics carried out with 1 turn, describing what happens, integrating in some core concepts. And then we have assembling a squadron. So we have 3 different game sizes. These are just reference. Players can really choose how they want to play and what they want to do. This is a recommendation of how to balance your matches. We have a quick reference guide. And then I threw in a bunch of artwork just to see what they would look like on a 2-page spread print. So these will be placed in and around the rulebook after each faction section. Then we have an example faction section, the Crim Corporation. So I've only done the light and the medium rig so far, but there will be a heavy and colossal class rig as well. And that's all I want to show you for now. This is a prototype after all. So here we have a rig control terminal, which is used to operate a rig. And you have the model, so that's for the hijack, associated weapon cards. Each rig comes with about 6 to 8 weapons. And you also have equipment that can be slotted in for building out your rig. The health of a rig is kept track by these dice representing structure points, and when one of them is critically damaged, replace it with a critical damage token, and there's effects that go along with that. You can also do the same for the weapons. Each activation, a rig has 5 actions. Each action costs heat, and whenever you use an action, you increase the level of the heat track. At the end of your activation, if you're in a numbered spot, then you have to roll on the heat table, which may have some negative consequences for your rig. So you have to really balance how far you want to push your engine in battle. When designing a Vol and Iron, I put a lot of emphasis on rig customization. So there's going to be lots of rigs that you can choose from. You can either paint them as a faction or come up with something your own. It doesn't really matter. The point is to have fun painting some really cool diesel punk mechs. So that was the Of Oil and Iron preview. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're as excited as I am for the Kickstarter, launching September 30th. Please do bear in mind that this is still a work in progress. So anything you see in the video, in the rulebook, will probably change, let's be honest. If anyone has any feedback on what they saw, would love to hear it. Still a lot of work to do, so, but very exciting.